Oh yeah, welcome gamers, pee pee poo poo. Welcome to Edmund Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die.
It's not a threat.
That's nothing.
Just
not a
fact.
threat. Sorry that I said pee pee poo poo.
No, you're not.
I'm a little bit sorry. I'm Sarah, aka Leonardo Needy Vinky.
I'm Matt, aka the Chad High Speed Rail versus the Virgin Hyperloop.
More like the Virgin Hyper Poop, thanks.
Nice.
I'm Val Flight Cub, aka the Grand Budapest Total Landscaping.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh god, the fucking Four Seasons Total Landscaping is such a stupid fucking thing that
I feel like it's been talked to the point where it's not even funny if we mention it at this point.
Between a sex shop and a crematorium.
That is pretty good though.
Yeah.
I really like, Val, the way your nickname the way your nickname dovetails with the Borat Club canon that Wes Anderson is the secret director of Borat. Just so we can really fold Borat into our election year even more than we already have by virtue of there being a second Borat movie now.
Hell yeah.
I believe you mean a subsequent movie film.
Yeah, sorry, a subsequent movie film of Borat. I'm sorry for this this discretion that I have foisted upon Sacha Baron Cohen in my disrespect to his movie film.
So, the election's over. We did it. Fascism is dead. We won, and
brunch time, baby.
Brunch time.
It's time to go back to brunch.
Time to not give a shit about politics anymore. We did it.
Y'all ready for brunch?
Here's the thing.
It turns out that we actually did end COVID also. It's just done.
Politics is one question, and we answered it, and now we're done. The question is who should be president. We answered it with Joe Biden, and now it's done.
Yeah.
We did answer the question with Joe Biden, but the question was...
Why did you answer the question?
Yeah, the question, in fact, was who has soup for brains? And unfortunately, that was still the answer. It was Joe Biden.
Sometimes one answer can service two questions.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
You ever think about the fact that Donald Trump took a dementia test and then bragged about the fact that he did so well on it?
Yeah.
Even though he, definitely didn't remember the things in order, because there's no other reason that they would have said, oh, it's extra points if you get it in order, but it's fine if you don't.
Right.
Anyway, it's fine.
Unfortunately, I have a pop-top beer today, so I couldn't make a cool sound when I opened it.
That's unfortunate.
It doesn't
I'm
make a little...
you right now.
It was very quiet. We'll see if it gets picked up. I'll bass boost it in the edit.
Awesome,
thank you. So yeah, we have our oldest president-elect ever.
Mm-hmm.
You really do love that. I really thought that that Reagan might have beaten that, but no, he is older than Reagan was.
It's incredible.
Really do love it. And yeah, we haven't really been recording all that much lately because the election clearly just burnt all our brains out at the sockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were all just catatonic functionally for 3 weeks. I am wearing sweatpants that say bottom text on the ass right now, and this is me in a state of recovery from the point where I was just in my underwear.
You're not even in the States.
Those are an amazing pair of pants.
Yeah. This is me recovering from the depths of the election hell that we were all in. I mean, not like we haven't been dealing with
It says here you took 2 years to stew in your sweatpants. Yes,
yeah.
For my agonies.
It's for my agonies, of course.
God, imagine the stew you would cook up inside your sweatpants if you just wore them for 2 straight years.
Don't want to think about that.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm not talking about like pee pee poo poo stew, just to be clear.
Oh yeah,
but you're talking about butt sweat stew.
The butt sweat, the farts.
The butt sweat. Oh my God. You would literally just tear a hole in the ass of them by the time you were done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're allowed to take them off to pee pee poo poo. You can take them off to shower.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't take them off to shower explicitly.
You can take them off to shower once a week.
Okay.
Anyway, we're all doing really well if you can't tell.
Yeah, we're really just loving it. The fact that the election happened and Joey B won he won a lot of states. Mm-hmm. Yay, woo! He won the popular vote and also the electoral vote, which is the one that matters because the Democrats won by 3 million popular votes, but lost the electoral college and just threw their hat on the ground and said "drat," and then they decided there's nothing to be done about this.
Right.
Yeah.
And now the margin was increased to 4 million, and that was enough for the Electoral College to work.
Yeah, but it's entirely possible that does not work because the Republicans are refusing to acknowledge his victory, including people like Mitch McConnell and what's his ass, the guy in the fucking war hawk whose name I can't bother to
John
remember,
Bolton?
who was like, we will have a
John
what's
Bolton?
that? I don't think it was John Bolton.
Dan Crenshaw?
No, it wasn't Dan Crenshaw. I don't remember. It was some piece of shit who was like, we will, if Trump is the winner, we will secure a successful transfer of power to a second Trump administration.
Oh, right. I know who you're talking about, but like the name's not something to me. I just can't care anymore. It's like the whole thing with the Republicans pushing this is basically like, the classic Republican strategy of challenge and sue for everything, which is like, it's as much a Republican strategy as it is just the way Donald Trump has operated his entire life.
Which, by the way, they're 0 for 12.
Reason, I don't think they can win.
No.
But I think they can fundraise off of it, which is a large part of where the donations to Trump's Secure the Vote campaign are going, is like 60% of it is going to finance his campaign debt.
Oh.
Which is very funny. Just like a double grift. Speaking of double grift, the Lincoln Project, which was a project born of slightly moderate Republicans, but like, all still like Bush era war hawk, like real just horrible people. They're Republicans.
They're not even centrist Dems. They're Republicans.
Right. I meant like they were moderate Republicans. And that was like very heavy air quotes that I'm sure you could hear even though you could not see them.
Yes.
The vote of Republicans for president, like people who are registered Republican voting for Donald Trump as president, actually increased 3% from 90 to 93. The Lincoln Project raised over $60 million.
So you're telling me that epic rap battles of history, Reagan versus Donald Trump did not do anything?
No, it actually inspired more people to vote for Donald Trump. And so like 2/3 of their money ended up just going into like political firms that were literally just operated by the people who run the project. Yeah, so like they were just putting the money right back in their own pockets.
Their own little pockets.
And they've literally said that they are going to use their funds for like, 2022 races for Republicans.
Freaking
just like the hugest grift of all. Yeah, freaking sweet Lois.
A return to the republicanism of the 70s. The one that said the one that said AIDS. What is that? Gay? Ha ha ha. Never ignoring that.
Yeah, basically. It's
the classic
great.
Respectable Republican.
And yeah, so the way the election went is more or less Joe Biden squeaked out a narrow electoral college victory, which is still being contested in Georgia, being contested in Michigan, being contested in Arizona. The latter two of those don't really have a case. Like they're contesting such a small number of ballots that it's all but ensured that the electoral victory of Joe Biden in those states is assured. Georgia is within the recount threshold of 0.5%. So like that was going to go to a recount anyway. And also hasn't actually been called yet. But a lot of like weirdo right-wingers are like really, really insisting that Arizona not be called yet, despite the fact that it's like very...
A blowout.
Yeah, well, it's not entirely a blowout. I was looking on this, there's a person who does this aggregating of... They do an aggregate of like, of election counting, and then say like in each batch of new ballots that comes out, how many were which candidate by percentage. Does this person have a persona that's a fox with glasses? It's not Nate Silver. It's just like a blank, like basically nameless GitHub page, which is why I liked it, and which is why it is where I looked at all my election results, so I didn't have to see like other headlines all over the page. And it was basically like the percentage of ballots that Trump is getting is like in like the 60% range for Arizona right now. So like above half, but he would need like 70%. So he's not like in a completely unattainable range. Whereas you look at like, say, Alaska before they called it, and it said that Biden would have needed something like 2,000% of the remaining ballots. So, when you get to that point, that's when you can just call a state.
Yeah.
I would also like to shout out the Navajo Nation for having a historic level, I believe, of voter turnout in general.
Let's go.
But
so
they had a 97% turnout for Biden. So thank you for winning Arizona for us. Apache, Navajo, and Coconino counties.
There was I remember there was this whole thing around the 2008 election that a lot of people in the Navajo Nation were compelled to vote for John McCain because he did some nominal things as a politician in Arizona to support tribal lands. I don't remember exactly what they were, but that he did stuff for them. But a lot of them decided to not vote for him anyway because they were voting for the country and not just for themselves.
Amazing.
And I feel like that was in 2008. That was 12 years ago. And now people are acting like
we said Keystone XXL, baby.
Well, yeah, people act like the Navajo Nation just came out of nowhere to do this, as if they haven't been incredibly involved the whole time. It's and the biggest thing that helped swing the most important parts of this election, which were Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and Arizona. Funny how it can come down to basically just 4 states, but nevertheless. We're just huge get out the vote efforts run primarily by progressives.
I mean, Stacey Abrams has been working at this for half a decade
since she lost.
I mean,
well, also especially since she lost,
but also the 5 years leading up to her ever running. That was what she was doing before.
She did great work there.
Yeah,
and that kind of brings into a different part of the electoral conversation, which is how progressives fared in this election and how progressives are being treated after the election. Which I feel like this is very much a thing that happens every time, but is annoying anyway.
Yes. Let's talk about down ballot votes.
Joe Biden was absolutely disastrous for down ballot voting here. And the only thing that motivated people to get out there and an overwhelming amount of people were progressives won their races by a lot.
No progressives lost except for seats.
Yeah, extremely. And
I think it was out of people who supported the Green New Deal, every single one of them was reelected, even in swing districts. And out of people who supported defunding the police, I think there was one person who lost.
The DSA
out of the whole docket.
And I think the DSA endorsed 26 of the people that the DSA endorsed were
out of 30.
Out of 30. Yeah.
Yeah, all one, which is
obviously we have our qualms with the DSA, but
right.
Well, yeah,
it's an indicator.
I have my qualms with Bernie. I have my qualms with AOC. We kind of have to totally. When we're dealing with electoral politics, you kind of have to take something somewhere.
You have to suck it up.
You kind of have to suck it up a little bit.
But the thing is, I have to suck it up a lot less to vote for a DSA-supported candidate than I do have to suck it up to vote for Joe fucking Biden.
Joe fucking Biden. Well, see, I'm proud to say that I did not vote for Joe Biden because I am not legally allowed to do so. But that is not why
Matt,
I did
what the
it.
You
fuck?
could have nailed it.
If it was Bernie Sanders, I would have committed voter fraud to submit a vote for Bernie Sanders. But for Joe Biden, no fucking way. No way in hell is that happening.
Do you ever just think about how literally anyone else who was in the running for the primary would have been a better candidate than Joe would have been?
Literally, the only person I think who might have been worse is
Steyer and de Blasio would probably have been worse.
Yeah, exactly. Any of the billionaires would have been worse. And Pete, I feel like is worse in so many ways.
Oh yeah,
but is way too focused. He's way too focused on optics to be as bad as Joe Biden.
Well, but Joe,
because he would never fucking tell someone to not vote for him, which is what Joe Biden did 8 times.
Joe can win over voters in Florida. That's he can appeal to people that in the end didn't end up voting for him.
Well, yeah, it's great how the Democrats are focused with fucking Ana Navarro Cardenas on their staff to go after only conservative Cubans and Nicaraguans and literally no other Latino demographic. And then just casually ignore the fact that in addition to the Navajo Nation, Latino turnout is what won them Arizona.
Mm-hmm. That sounds very
never
correct.
mind all of that.
But
John Kasich,
in the aftermath of all this, in the aftermath of all this, we're seeing an even further move toward the center because people are
not even to the center, to the right, straight up
to the right, where it's
to the right.
like, don't fucking mention defund the police. Don't mention Medicare for all. Like, so I don't remember who the fuck it was, but one of the centrist Democrats was like, I nearly lost a race because of an attack ad because I once said defund the police. So never say it again.
God.
Right, and then, like, never mind that person, I don't remember exactly who they were, but they explicitly were against Medicare for all and had taken a bunch of healthcare money.
No, it's probably the other thing.
Like, it's extremely funny how candidates can just, like, decide to be against Medicare for all in the midst of a global pandemic where we had 200,000 new cases in the other day, which we fucking love to hear.
How is the optics
like,
not
that number
horrible
is
for that?
Because if you like your healthcare plan, you can keep it. But I don't like my healthcare plan. Well,
nobody does.
Pee-pee-poo-poo.
But you can keep it.
Nobody likes it. Yeah, it's really just wonderful how they can, like, blame the down ballot massacre on progressives when the progressive policies were winning. People who are running as basically, like, parachuted in milquetoast centrists who are basically like, their mom was a Democratic Party operative, so they are allowed to continue to be in politics. Mm-hmm. Like, they're basically all Joe Kennedys, but without Kennedy clout.
Right.
Like, they're all operating under the same, like, level of entitlement that they deserve to be in politics and that they deserve their seats, despite the fact that they just do nothing for their constituents. They spend all of their time fundraising for their campaigns that they lose. Like, I always, like, it's always amazing to me when I see it's like, this person lost their congressional seat and then won it again 4 years later. It's like, why the fuck was the same person running? Clearly they fucked something up.
Oh yeah, we should mention Amy McGrath. Her race went
Amy
the way
McGrath lost by a double-digit number of points after $80 million was poured into her race.
Yep, we love to lose that. We love to lose that shit. And then people were like, "Well, we can still get Mitch McConnell out of being the Senate Majority Leader if the Republicans are no longer the Senate Majority. So please donate to these 2 runoff elections in Georgia." And then some like Axios thing from. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the actual tweet because it's from today. Yeah. It's not exactly on the level of Hillary hits the whip and Nene on the Ellen show with the emojis, but we've got...
Right. He's at least discussing policy. It's just that his policy fucking sucks ass.
So here we go. Georgia Senate candidate John Ossoff outlines to Margaret Alev on Axios on HBO which policies he supports. Thumbs up. DC and Puerto Rican statehood. Thumbs down. Green New Deal, Medicare for all, defunding the police, abolishing ICE, expanding the Supreme Court. Thinky emoji, ending the filibuster. Like,
I think Demi Adejuyigbe put this the best way in his retweet of this story, which is like, I want there to be 2 new states and I want them to be fucking miserable.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, that's what that comes down to. And, like, never mind the fact that, like, Puerto Rican statehood is, like, a very complicated issue within Puerto Rico, in that a lot of people don't want it because it's just a further step of colonialization.
Yeah.
On the island of Puerto Rico. Like, they should definitely have more House representation, like, being allowed to have, like, voting members of the House. And they should just get Senate seats without statehood.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if we are going to exercise this colonial imperial grasp on Puerto Rico, they should be, like, at the very least, they should be allowed to participate in our stupid fucking piece of shit electoral college broken system.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then, like, DC, like, voted, like, 95% for Biden. Like, one of the most absurd margins anywhere in the country.
Yeah, seeing that was very seeing 95% Biden, Drake looking away emoji, seeing 5% for Trump, Drake pointing emoji.
I mean, that's what this whole election is, right?
Really, yeah.
I would replace Drake looking away and Drake pointing with Robbie Rotten making a disgusted face and Robbie Rotten pointing.
I would also replace that. I just couldn't think of another thing. Drake came to me in the moment.
Yeah. We do still stand Stefan Karl and do not support Drake.
Mm-hmm.
We are saluting you. We are saluting you beyond the grave, Mr. Karl.
Of course, as always. But yeah, election, folks. You might want to call the number on the back of that Viagra because there's an election lasting more than 4 hours.
Whoa!
Thank you.
Thanks, Brooks.
Thank you, Brooks, for tweeting that once every 4 years precisely.
I New York didn't have anything on back of the ballot shit, which I found really confusing because weed is to some extent decriminalized. Just for example, weed was overwhelmingly voted yes in Arizona and a couple of other states that I can't remember off the top of my head.
So every state that had a ballot on marijuana voted to decriminalize. Yeah.
And it's been decriminalized to some extent here, where it's harder to get there's still mandatory minimums in New York, but it's harder to get someone on anything more than just a fee, but the fees are pretty steep. But it's why are we not and I know why. It's because our governor is a Republican, and our fucking everything is just further and further right wing leaning. But it's so frustrating when we have I don't know. I look around and I see all these fucking not quite weed shops around me, and I'm just it just feels like everyone is trying to get their foot in the door for when the day actually comes. And they're Democrats, everyone loves to just jerk off small businesses, but these are small businesses that are going to be if they do not actually pull the trigger on legalizing weed, it's just these are companies that have opened to get their foot in the door for day one when that happens. But if that day one never comes, then I don't know how sustainable just selling CBD and peripherals are.
It's a shame that they guillotined all small business owners in the town square.
Do you mean paraphernalia?
I do mean paraphernalia, thank you.
Anyway, guillotine small business owners. I'll get back to this point later.
Buying the fucking Wii Motion Plus thing for your bong.
To smoke weed out of.
Exactly. Doing advanced motion controls for weed sports resorts.
Weed sports resort.
There you go, Matt. Gave you an easy layup for the episode title.
Did you guys see that Henry Kissinger endorsed Joe Biden's foreign policy?
We love it.
Very capable foreign policy advisors stood by him during the election campaign, says former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
The butcher of Cambodia says your foreign policy is great.
Why the fuck we still have Henry Kissinger and not Alex Trebek? Horse shit.
God, that's right. How old is Henry Kissinger now?
96.
He's 97.
Yeah. He's gonna get a card from the Queen.
Love it.
Speaking, you know who else is old as shit and is still in charge of so many goddamn things? Nancy Pelosi is 81 years, 80 or I don't know if she's 80 or 81, but she's 80 plus years old. Chuck Schumer is in his 70s. Wait, no, is Chuck Schumer 80?
I don't know. All I know is that Chuck Schumer was reelected to the Senate minority leader. And
I regret to inform you that Chuck Schumer is 69 years old.
God damn it, that's nice. But I know Nancy Pelosi is running for the House Majority Leader again, and shouldn't get it, but probably will.
Yep.
I do remember seeing an article about how she didn't have the votes for it the other day, but I think that turned out to be just hearsay.
Yeah.
It was very wishful thinking.
I just I don't want to sound like I'm ascribing to that belief of old people shouldn't get to vote because they're going to be dead soon anyways, because that's a stupid and awful belief. But
they should get to vote, they just shouldn't be allowed to rule. There should be a maximum age.
Exactly. There is a minimum age for a reason. There should be a maximum age. You should not be allowed to be signing policies into action when you're older than the goddamn Crypt Keeper.
Right. They're gonna get their fucking intense pensions anyway. Just let them take their pensions and leave. Because the thing is, Nancy Pelosi as the House Majority Leader and just as as someone in the House has enriched herself by millions and millions of dollars through the policy that she writes. That's basically how it goes. That's why these people are here. They're voting for their own pocketbooks by and large above anything else.
Yes, that's why we don't have
you should not even be able to hold anything when you are working in politics.
That's why we don't have universal healthcare. It's the money.
That's exactly.
It's not because it's unpopular. It's the money, so fucking popular.
Well, yeah. It's not the money that it's going to cost us.
No.
Which is less. It's the money that it's going to cost them.
That it's going to lose the insurance lobbyists or whatever the fuck.
Exactly. Anyway, fuck Nancy Pelosi.
She's Nancy Khaleesi. She did an epic clap. We love her. I'm standing right now.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb as shit. I hate it. Bad. Awful. But you want to talk about some good news?
Yeah,
sure. Why not?
Remember, it wasn't last episode, it would have been like one or two before, where we talked about the Mi'kmaq fishery being terrorized by the settlers who are like, hey, we don't like you doing your little, we don't like you, we are like, it like fucking, what was Harry Potter's, like, brother's name in the books? Dudley, yeah. Dudley fucking, I got 41 presents last year, ass motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Some good news in this front.
Yeah, Matt, do you actually want to take this one? Because I don't know all the details about it.
The long and short of it is that Clearwater Fisheries, which is like one of the largest fisheries in the area, which is like all like vertically managed, like the whole supply chain is basically all managed under Clearwater, had like a near controlling or like partial ownership stake purchased by it was a holding company paired with the Mi'kmaq the tribes in the area. So like a lot of the tribal identities that fall under the Mi'kmaq all joined onto this partnership to basically, they now own all of the fishing licenses that Clearwater was giving out.
It's honestly, it's some extremely like end of like a feel good movie type shit, and I'm
right. What's like the only thing is that I don't know. It's very like Master's Tools, Master's House is kind of how I'm feeling about it largely, as much as it does seem to be a victory. It's like, okay, but now that there's these fishing licenses, how does it work from here? How does the still controlling interest of Clearwater go into this? How does, like, I guess like this means like Clearwater can get out of season lobster if they're working with the Mi'kmaq, who have their it's not a treaty right to it. It's the treaty right is what the Canadians have to fish. It is just an inherent right that the Mi'kmaq have to do their lobster fishing in any season in that area. As like, you know, a treaty is a conversation between nations, between the Mi'kmaq nation and the project known as Canada, which is a way I heard it referred to on a podcast, which I might be sticking to because it's quite good.
Anyways, yeah, sorry if there was a weird edit there, but we are now joined by former guest of the show, recurring guest of the show now, John. Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. I don't want to, it's too much inside Blazeball, but I heard my ears, I felt my ears burning, and I heard non-natives talking about native issues, and so I had to hop in.
You had to get in here.
I had to because if I'm not in here to lend my expertise, then it just people are going to ask questions, and I want to nip that in the bud. So yeah. I'm here.
We're here to stop giving up. We're here to stop us from.
Do you have a nickname for this week?
Yeah.
Do I have a nickname?
If not, feel free to pluck from the collectivized nicknames.
There's some really good ones. So I'm going to try and not pick one that. Okay, I haven't been listening to the whole recording session, so I'm going to have to go with. I'm going to use Matt's calling the Chad High Speed Rail versus the Virgin Hyperloop.
That was my nickname this week, but you can also have it. We can both make fun of Elon Musk.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not involved directly with this specific Hyperloop, but it is his concept.
I legit thought Hyperloop was like a trademarked concept, but no, it's just like a thing.
It's very stupid. Anyway, so we were talking about the Mi'kmaq partnership with Clearwater Foods. And I wasn't sure on the 100% of the details of it.
Yeah. It's a really funny situation because like I only know I know people who are on the ground in that struggle and people who are involved. But I am also not entirely clear on all the details. I'm pretty sure what it is it's the First Nation sort of like coalition group. They're teaming up with a private organization,
right?
And now they own 50% of, and now they both together own 100%, which means that First Nation owns 50% and the private conglomerate own the other 50%.
So if you know people who are involved in it, what's the feeling about
the vibe?
Are they like woohoo, or are they like we did it? I guess.
I guess what you'll find is that like within the sort of like grassroots community, there's a wide spectrum of political leanings.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people who are like very political, like very like involved in like the state politics. Like there's like hashtag liberals or NDP or God help you conservatives. But like so within the movement there's like there's a focus on like we just need to be heard, and whether that's in parliament or in private business or whatever, then like it's very like it's very like a capital L liberal kind of way of thinking of things.
Okay.
So I guess among the people who are really sort of just like kind of like frustrated at the lack of government intervention, or people who are just like really frustrated about the fact that the Mi'kmaq have not been heard and that they were being attacked routinely, constantly, both like on social media and in person. I guess that the general feeling for this is that it's a solution that doesn't answer every problem immediately, but it is a step forward in being heard, which is always the contention. But if you like, but I know anarchists who are stationed out there, and they're the idea of like doing business with the lobster fisheries rather than like just like Minecrafting them all, maybe it's like it's a very kind of it's a mixed bag, because like when you're disenfranchised that in that way for so long, it can be kind of frustrating, and you're kind of just hoping for anyone to be able to lend you a voice and a platform. And so,
I mean, like one part of it that was like kind of confusing is like, isn't like a lot of the settler fishers that were attacking the Mi'kmaq for doing their lobster fishing, like weren't they like a lot of them just like Clearwater license holders, like people who had their licenses on loan from Clearwater to actually do the fishing?
Yeah, you're right. And there was I remember seeing on Twitter, there were a lot of really good choice tweets and sort of people making jokes about, we're going to need you to come into HR and have a little conversation about this thing that you did. and it's very invigorating in the moment to sort of see this victory sort of come to pass, because like, the thing is that like I heard Matt talk about treaties just before I hopped on, and when I thought about that, it is a conversation. It's supposed to be something that's happening between people who see each other as equals. And the problem is that like in this fucked up capitalist society, you're not an equal unless you have stake.
And also, it's like going to be expected that, like, okay, now that natives have a place at the table, they're going to be expected to. There's going to be a level of like reasonability and like I guess expected of them in this conversation. Like now that they're on the court, they have to like play decent ball and not Minecraft people.
Yeah, and it is also it's very much like a union comes into a workplace and the workers are collectivized, but now there's a no strike clause in the contracts.
Yeah.
So
it feels very like sorry, I don't want to cut you. I've just been sitting on a stupid joke for like 10 minutes that it's like the end of like a 90s movie where it turns out the solution to beating the bullies was capitalism, and it's like, well, the bullies got beaten, but like I kind of wanted there to be like a more a less capitalist centric ending. Though I guess it's not over, obviously, but
yeah.
For sure. And there are already people who are saying like, there are already people who are kind of naysaying the whole thing, but from the perspective of Clearwater fishers who have Clearwater licenses are going to be mad at Clearwater, and there's going to be even more tension. And so, how many problems can capitalism really solve? I would say none permanently. Yeah. There's no problem that can be permanently solved with
none permanently, I think, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, this is like on the up. This is like in the upper echelon of like dubs that capitalism has given us, in my opinion. But it is still like a capitalism gifted dub,
right? Also, I'm sorry, John. You mentioned living in a society. Is that true? Are the people involved in this living in a society?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's hard to believe, but actually sometimes, yeah.
Because my brain is kind of being freaked. by that.
Yeah.
It's kind of twisted.
Is Chris Angel on the call?
Because you just got mind freaked.
I just got mind freaked. Society.
Anyway, who wants to move to a different topic of Canadian horseshit this week?
Oh, I would love to talk more about. I would love to do more talking about Canadian horseshit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we got a good one. Because guess what, folks? It's Remembrance Day, and the culture wars are back. So fucking excited that we just get to do this. This is just the new season. We do it every year.
This is a fun seasonal version of the American flag pin thing that America has.
It's like how every season of Psych had a Christmas episode.
Because last year we actually did discuss this largely on an episode which is titled "Famous Hockey Racist." I got the
very good.
Sorry, that still cracks me up.
It's one that just I remember which episode it is because it did get to be the title.
Yeah.
And our stupid culture war every single goddamn year is about wearing the poppy. The poppy being a symbol that is ostensibly a statement to say never again to the colonial wars that people are sent to die for no fucking reason. What it has turned into is, one, the poppy in Canada is literally a trademark of the Royal Canadian Legion, and anything that is made using the poppy has to be with their express permission, and they get profits for it.
Okay.
Two, the Royal Canadian Legion's version of history is that wars are generally justified. So very much counter to what was expressly supposed to be the original purpose of the poppy, which was to say, again, never again to these colonial conflicts to which the poor go to die while generals get to die in their beds.
So but never again the ones that we didn't win. That's what it...
Right. So they're the Royal Canadian Legion famously acts like the Korean War was a good war that was fought for good reasons, and not just North Korea being shelled so severely that every building taller than one story was blown up.
Okay.
And this also doesn't mention Canadian peacekeeping being largely what propped up bad governments in several countries. A Canadian peacekeeper is the one who gave up Patrice Lumumba and caused there to be a dictatorship in the Congo.
Good.
So anyway, history of Canadians in war.
I saw a really good post that was, I felt like it was tailor-made to you, and I'm sure someone's already sent this to you, but I'm going to post it in chat. I'm going to post it in podcast chat anyways, because it's from @Halo on Twitter, and it says, "To service members of all branches, thank you for your bravery and the example you set for us all." And it's a drawing of Master Chief, but his head is not there. He's holding his helmet in his hand, and he's holding a poppy in his other hand.
Happy Poppy Controversy Xbox.
Happy Controversy Xbox. Anyway,
hold on. I got to take a quick look at the. I'm zooming in on the reflection of his in his visor, and there's a guy standing in front of Matt. I'm not as versed in Halo as you are, but is this how? Hold on, I'm gonna take a screen cap of it, and so is that
that doesn't look like a warthog, but I think it's supposed to be.
And also just a guy waving at Master Chief amidst a field of poppies.
Hello. Hello.
In a field of poppies.
Hello, Mr. Chief.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Mr. Chief.
Hi over there.
Oh no, Mr. Chief, you have no head.
Anyway, that's basically just the background of, Canadian militarism. So what the specific controversy was last year was that Don Cherry, famous hockey racist, on his program was talking about how immigrants are ungrateful for living in Canada, and they should wear the poppy to honor soldiers. Who, largely refugees coming to Canada. Canada probably had something to do with their countries being in the situation they're in, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
This year, this was actually a smaller story that I don't remember if we ever talked about, but came up a couple of months ago, where Whole Foods employees in Canada were specifically banned. Mm-hmm. They're specifically banned from wearing anything that stated a political position in any way.
Like masks
so they were not
that say
able
Black
to
Lives
wear.
Matter.
They weren't allowed to wear masks that say Black Lives Matter on it, for example. And I think this even extended to Pride stuff for a little bit before there was a small backlash that caused that to be rescinded. What happened is that they put out a uniform policy statement saying that this extended to poppies and that wearing a poppy is a political statement and should not be put on your uniform. Now,
it is.
I'm not going to hand it to them, but it very much is a political statement that is never treated like one.
Right. Well, it's a political statement that everyone has to make.
Right. It's a political statement when it goes. It's a political statement when it goes against the hegemony, and when it goes with the hegemony, then it's just neutral. Wearing a poppy is neutral because it's the thing everyone does.
It's like saying you support the troops. Like, what are you going to say? You don't support the troops?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like season
I will
one,
say
BoJack that.
No, I mean, I also would say that.
Yeah. We are all saying fuck the troops.
So, in the immediate aftermath of this measure, Doug Ford put out a motion in the Ontario legislature condemning this formally and put forth legislation to ban people from banning the poppy. A ban on bans.
Use of government time.
This is the only legislation that Doug Ford has put through in months that mentions workers in any way.
Oh,
because
my
every
God.
single relief has been aimed at landlords, rent holders, and companies.
Oh my God! Doug!
There was a
Bad.
universal condemnation in the House of Commons from every political party. Actually, I don't know if the Quebec Nationalist Party's dead, because the Quebec Nationalists kind of hate the poppy because they were the ones that were largely against conscription in the first place around the First World War, because it was just the British flexing their empire muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But either way, the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, and the NDP and the Greens, everyone put out statements saying that we strictly condemn Whole Foods. The NDP, ostensibly the left-wing racial justice party, said nothing about Whole Foods stopping people from wearing Black Lives Matter apparel as a party. I believe several individual MPs did, but the party did not. And so Whole Foods reverses course. And
it's a good use of tax dollars and government time.
And then, so like the usual articles that'll come out every November 11th have come out from, people on the media left, people like Nora Loretto, and there was a guest on not on Citations Need, on Alberta Advantage, who wrote a book basically about Canada's war history, and he's a Canadian professor who he teaches at I think it was Humber College, and he specifically teaches Canadian foreign relations. And people are confused as to why he starts his course in foreign relations talking about Canadian colonialism.
And
that's
a real fucking thinker, you know that?
That's a real thinker
How
right
can
there.
it be
because
connected?
Well, basically what happens is people assume that colonialism was an internal project of Canada versus Canada, as opposed to it being the British and French, then Canadians, with the many, many nations that populated the land before they got here. And so that is really the root of all foreign relations, is the Canadian colonial project.
Is when the 3 oil companies bought the trench coat.
Yeah, they all bought the trench coat.
I just real quick before you move on, Matt, before we get too far away from Whole Foods, I just want to say Whole Poods, but it's HOLE, like your butthole, where poo comes from.
Nice. So basically the long and short is that those articles have come out as they usually do, but this year there's just such a huge backlash towards it. So large scale columnists, people like Jonathan Kay, who works with the National Post, and then just your usual right-wing media folk, disgraced radio host Dean Blundell, who I imagine John might be the only person who knows who he is, if anything.
That was a good sound to hear.
So basically, all the right wing media grifters, and even the partisan liberal grifters, like Ed the Sock types, are just completely ripping on the Canadian left about this. And it's so. I mean, I fucking posted the article, the Nora Loretto article on Facebook, and got an angry DM from my mom this morning. So, that's how far this stuff is entrenched. And I think what it comes down to is if your remembrance jingoistic, if your remembrance supports continued military expansion, that it's not fucking worth anything. Like, it's completely fucking worthless if you aren't trying to dismantle the military machine, generally making things worse. But if, of course, what they don't believe is that the Canadian military makes things worse, which it almost unequivocally does.
Yeah, militaries have historically made everything in the world better. This is a known quantity. Oh, I'm sorry, I just got very...
I mean, like, you say that sarcastically, but genuinely, like, 70% of people believe this.
Sorry, I stopped talking mid-sentence there because Smile just jumped up on my on my pile of laundry in my laundry basket, and I got really excited about it. Sorry, she's just been kind of like walking... She's just been sauntering around my room this entire recording. I've just been...
The absolute legend.
Aww.
We love her.
And so that's the Canadian culture war update.
Small culture. Speaking of, I thought there was. I think I was crossing my wires a little bit because I was thinking of. I thought the BBC had said something about this, but I think it.
They probably did too because there's always poppy debates in England as well.
Yes,
right. But the thing that I was thinking of with the BBC was that they banned their they banned their staff from attending Pride.
Oh fucking hell! Yeah.
Yeah, they're strict. Like the strict like centrism that the BBC loves to stick to is basically like, I mean, like the BBC have an explicit policy that if they're going to have any trans person on to talk about trans issues, that they have to have a TERF on. Like that's an actual policy that they hold.
Is that one of the reasons why TERFism is so entrenched in the UK?
I mean, it's entrenched because it's entrenched. Like they consider it a second they continue to wield their power.
And I believe the BBC story about the Pride thing is even more fucked because it's actually that people are they're not allowed to attend any kind of political rally or event.
Yeah, so Black Lives Matter is also out.
Right.
Here I have a quote here from an Advocate article. The new guidance reportedly issued by BBC's Director General Tim Davie says that such attending these events would be, quote, virtue signaling, end quote, and staff should avoid them no matter how apparently worthy the cause or how much their message appears to be accepted or uncontroversial.
Right.
Yeah, you really love just using like, I mean, very much like a term that in its original usage, much like incel, was like a political critique that was adopted by the right and used for a completely different purpose. So like virtue signaling, you just can't use the term virtue signaling anymore.
Yeah. The thing is though, Pride was I believe not included in that. So Pride was an apolitical thing, according to the BBC, and their staff could attend it unless the trans issue came up, and then
which it would inherently do because it's fucking Pride. And
yeah,
Pride,
you could attend LGBT events, but not LGBT events.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Because
what was the first Pride? The first Pride was an ice cream social. That everyone was invited to?
Sylvia Rivera dropped an ice cream sandwich onto a cop's car and said, "Here, buddy, have a treat.
Yeah,
have a little ice cream."
Yeah,
yeah.
And he said, "Yum yum 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 yum. I like it."
That's how it went.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. We like the way that is happening.
Yep. We love when the news monolith in the UK says trans. We love it when they say we have to answer the transgender question.
Yeah, that's great. Is when a group of people is an issue.
We historically love it.
It's usually turns out well.
Okay, I have a nickname.
Okay,
all right.
I've been thinking this whole time about it. I think I'm a cultural whoremonger.
Hell yes.
All right. Just throwing it back for culture.
I believe the guest that Matt was referring to is Tyler Shipley.
Yeah.
Tyler, he wrote a book called Canada in the World: Settler Capitalism and the Colonial Imagination. It's a fantastic book, and there's a Twitter account for Canada in the World, and there was a whole thread on the poppy and in Flanders Field specifically.
Yeah, that's a very good thread.
John McCrae apparently was really in favor of conscription because he was hoping it would stab a French Canadian.
Yeah,
and yeah, you know, and
not to hand it to the French, but
no,
if it's between John McCrae and the French, I will go with the French.
But the Canadian Army was so closely associated with Britain up until basically the end of World War II. And during World War II, when British Army detachments were being planned, like Canadian forces were marked with a Union Jack because we didn't have our own flag until much later,
like the 60s, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. But the fucking Great War sucked, World War II sucked, and it was not fought for the right reasons. It was fought for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, well, yeah, basically what he gets into in both the Twitter thread and the guest spot on the Alberta Advantage is that, like, Canada didn't really join World War II to fight fascism because they were largely in favor of fascism in their foreign policy both before and after the war.
And
they just happened to be against Nazis specifically. In World War II, not before it, where they more or less supported them. William Lyon Mackenzie King was noted as a great admirer of Hitler.
Oh, awkward.
Yeah. So now, John, that you have abandoned your original nickname, which I had already claimed, we want to talk about the Hyperloop, guys? Because I feel like it'd be less of a bummer than this.
I call it the Hyperpoop.
You do call it the Hyperpoop, and I would agree that is a perfectly good thing to call it.
Is that when you drink a lot of Mountain Dew before you poop, so you're like really jazzed up?
No, it's just when you hold off of a dump for like 5 days, and it's just like you just let out a giga turd.
And
I really hate this. I hate where this is going.
It's a hyper poop, but it's also a hyper loop because it's so long that it spins
sorry to
around
interrupt, but Smile just climbed from my laundry basket on top of my big box of Full Metal Alchemist manga.
Hell, yes.
Not to be the damn Joker or anything, but sometimes Val and Sarah are like living proof that freedom of speech is probably a bad idea.
See, that's why in Canada we don't have it.
1 second.
We technically do not have it.
I'm taking my headphones off because I have to get a picture of Smile like this. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
John, seeing as a couple days ago or so, Sarah and I were reminiscing over the fact that the second time I went on fear baiting, I made a joke about jacking off using the hole in a stigmata. I really don't know what you mean.
I mean, if you're disrespecting Christian iconography, I respect you.
No, see, this is the problem because you are the first guest after Blair took his first leave. You're the first guest with Sarah, and I believe you are anyway. But yeah, I think I thought about I'm going to be on fear baiting soon.
Nice.
And one thing I'm going to do, I was thinking about bringing a list of things that I personally wanted to complain about in my listen of every episode of fear baiting and all the things that I think are crimes that should have been addressed.
Are you saying that I am a perpetrator of word crimes?
I'm saying that probably Sarah's like the top suspect,
oh, for sure,
like defendant number one, and then everyone else is just an enabler.
Yeah,
I've never said anything wrong in my life.
I will never be convicted of thought crime because I have no thoughts. They just go straight from the thought forming process of my brain directly out my mouth. There's no filter.
I mean, you going on City
I thought you were going to say you can't be convicted of thought crime. You'd just be convicted of being a thought.
Yeah, that's me.
Criminally thoughty.
Let's talk about the Hyperloop. So, big Hyperloop news. This was about 3 days ago. 2 employees of Virgin Hyperloop, which, like, come on, the joke writes itself, rode in one of the company's pods today, traveling 100 miles per hour down a 500-meter tube in the first human test of the first human test of the, and I'm putting this in heavy quotes, hyperfast system.
What could go wrong?
Okay, first of all, what could go wrong when you need perfect vacuum seal on the entire length of your tube? Second of all, 100 miles per hour, I can practically go that on my bike. Third of all,
Japan had that shit dialed in 63.
Yeah, Japan has trains that were going that fast in 63
or 67,
and are testing ones that go 3 times as fast as that in the present day. Second of all, this is holding 2 people. 2 people. Like, at that point, you might as well be driving a fucking car.
Mm-hmm.
Fake Hyperloop when?
Every fucking day, Silicon Valley is reinventing the bus and the train, but worse. And here it is again. And the reason why it's the Chad Hyperloop, the Chad Hyperloop, the Virgin Hyperloop versus the Chad Heavy Rail is that Heavy Rail carries more people and is more efficient and is less destructive to build.
And also Heavy Rail sounds like a Doom weapon.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
Heavy Rail sounds like a tag on a website that opens when you're looking for other websites.
Heavy Rail, I can hear, if I close my eyes and enter my mind palace, I can hear the Metal Slug guy saying Heavy Rail in perfect, like 16-bit sound.
The thing about Heavy Rail is that Sean! Heavy Rain jokes. Anyway, that's really all I had for the Hyperloop this week. It's stupid. You should make fun of it. And if your city is attempting a measure to study a feasibility of the Hyperloop, go and egg that council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one more thing.
Direct action gets the goods, and that direct action is filling your city councilors with eggs.
I have a thing, which is the amount of pearl clutching that is happening over people saying, "Hey, maybe don't fucking hire Trump administration people who were appointed there."
Oh, AOC's enemies list.
AOC's enemies list, where she is brutally canceling every single person who ever worked for Donald Trump, because God forbid we want people who helped to enable a fascist to run our country. But you know what? We did just like kind of pluck a bunch of Nazis from the Nazi party after that was all, after World War II was over.
Don't forget Italian fascists. They plucked plenty of them too.
Oh yes, of course. How could I possibly forget? But AOC is now just saying the extremely small thing of, hey, don't fucking hire Trump people. It's a bad idea. And
they suck at their jobs. All of them.
And probably don't hire Bush people either.
Yeah, and libs like Jake Tapper are just absolutely losing their goddamn mind. Like, There's
maybe if progressives won you the election, don't hire Republicans.
Hari Sevagan, I apologize, I haven't butchered that name, but they posted a couple of days ago a Trump accountability website, TrumpAccountability.net, which is just like, hey, here's the people who helped further the Trump agenda. And Jake Tapper quote tweeted yesterday and said, an organized attempt by former Dem officials to blackball from employment anyone who worked for the U.S. government during the Trump administration seemed like the exact opposite of the calls for unity and healing we've heard from President-elect Biden. Like, dude, okay, if you were, like, I would not say it was admirable, but I would, like, understand if, like, an actual politician, like, said a line like that, was like, we're trying to be, I would think it would fucking suck, but I would at least understand, like, the political motivations that would lead them to be like, we need to be as healing and looking forward and not backwards as physically possible so that we can move forward and always twirling towards freedom.
Yeah.
But Jake Tapper, Mr. Reporter Man, is just like, I can't believe someone would try to cancel the fascists.
Well, like, we're not wrong for, like, people were like, you can't start talking about all the conservatives Biden's going to appoint to his cabinet. Let us have our days of jubilation. And it's like, then how the fuck are we supposed to, like, push them left? Isn't that the whole thing we're supposed to be doing, is once Biden's in office, we're supposed to be pushing him left? So I believe, like, right away, trying to make sure that he doesn't fucking work with Dick Cheney and Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Like, one of whom literally ran against Joe Biden in an election before.
We love it.
It really makes you think, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, fuck.
So, either way, just kind of, I feel like AOC's decision to say fuck off and just keep doing it is very admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like saying
she won her House race. That's her mandate.
Yeah, she's saying don't fucking bring Rahm Emanuel around. He's overseeing the cover up of a murder of a black teenager, and people are just like,
what they need to do to Rahm Emanuel is just just put him on a street in Chicago, and then we'll see what happens in Minecraft.
That one image of the woman, of the person, like, blowing some kind of instrument in his face, I think.
A very, very loud horn, from what I could gather.
Yes. But instead, she's just swinging at him with it.
Yeah, no, just going fucking
Minecraft.
ape shit. In Minecraft.
Yeah,
Look,
die mad about
Minecraft.
Either way, fucking Snake Fapper can die mad about it.
Yeah. It's... Yeah. I just... What if Rahm Emanuel was surrounded by TNT in Minecraft?
Okay.
That's the thing you can do in Minecraft, I heard.
It is.
That's the thing you can do in Minecraft.
I've not played much Minecraft, but I'm told this. I'm out of things to talk about. John, did you have anything? I know you were not I know we did not contact you in advance of this to be on the podcast, but do you have anything you'd like to talk about before we scoot on over to Lightbringers?
No, I'm just glad to have been able to sit in on a recording for once.
Yeah, well, next time we do an episode, we'll try and reach out in advance, so we're not just so you don't just tune in to listen and then we say, hey, come on the pod.
Do you want to do some work?
Yeah.
It's like when you're sitting in your room and then somebody opens your door and is like, company's here, just so you know. Yeah. And you're like, oh, fuck, okay.
Oh, shit.
And then you stay in your room.
But yeah, no, I'm also good to move towards Lightbringers. I think I had another story that I could have brought, but I just don't want to get mad at this point. I want to feel joy again. So
yeah,
I'd be glad to move the episode towards that point.
We're coming up on an hour 10 on the recording side of things. So yeah, let's move into Lightbringers. My Lightbringer this week is going to be the manga and anime that honestly kind of got me through the last couple of weeks. And I was able to just sink my entire focus into it and not pay as little attention to the election as possible, which was the manga/anime of Jujutsu Kaisen. I watched the first 3 episodes, then I was like, well, I don't want to wait for the 4th, and then I read the entire fucking manga. And I also started a podcast about it. It is, it's got some notes of Mob Psycho 100. I've been told it's got notes of the Magnus archives. The protagonist is a dipshitted 15-year-old who eats a finger of an ancient cursed guy and becomes kind of a greedling type guy from Fullmetal Alchemist with him. And then, there's a lot of good things about it. I like it a lot. And, you should listen to my podcast, Special Grade Snacks, about it. We've got 2 episodes out and the 3rd one coming soon.
Podcasting. My Lightbringer this week is that I quit my job. Many who have listened to this podcast will know that I have worked for a certain Canadian fitness company for literally 6 goddamn years now. And I had an actually useful manager. I can say good things about the people who are managers at the club level because, at this point in large corporations, managers are basically just workers who are defying their own class interests. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, manager noticed that I did not want to be there, and I decided, you know what, I don't. And so rather than deal with the constant security theater that is constantly cleaning equipment and touch points and screens while people yell at me because they don't want to wear a mask, I can instead chill at home with my cats wearing my sweatpants that say bottom text over the ass and playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
And doing things like watching 2 Austin Powers movies at once, like I did on Election Day. I just watched 2 of them at the same time.
What?
Just put both of them on. Don't worry about it. 2 different people were streaming Austin Powers movies. I put both of the images on my TV screen and just let the audio of both of them play.
Amazing.
Were there any great synchronicities?
There were actually a couple, but I don't remember any of them. There were several points where I was just doing Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at screen when there was a Dr. Evil on both of them. It was really quite good. But yeah, no, I highly recommend if you are in the financial position to do so, to quit your job, but I know pretty much no one is. I am in a very lucky position for having worked for the government for like a year and a half, making good money that I could actually save. I don't know how long I'll just, stick in the fun employment grind. But it'll at least be the next month because there's no fucking way I'm looking yet.
Cool. Val, you want to go next?
I do. Thank you. My Lightbringer is some IRL cute shit, which is that a couple of months ago, Alec got from Facebook Marketplace a collection of 30 Agatha Christie books. And I've over the past week or so, I was reading one of them to him before bedtime, and he would fall asleep, and then I would put the book away, and it was really cute. And now it's his turn to read the second Agatha Christie book to me, so it's really cute and it's fun, and that's my Lightbringer.
Hell yeah! Nice. Which book you're reading now, or which book is he reading to you?
So I read Murder on the Orient Express because I've heard so many references about it and I don't know what the ending was. So I was like, I have to know what these references are. And now he is reading Peril at End House.
Nice.
Because the title kind of sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, hell yeah. My Lightbringer, I have two. One is personal, and one is a recommendation for everyone out there.
All right.
So the personal is meditation. I started meditating at the end of October, I want to say. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. But I've spent literally 5 minutes a day just doing nothing but being awake and thinking about nothing. And it's actually really great. It's probably the best thing I've done for my mental health lately. It's just like, just take a minute. You don't have to scroll through Twitter. You just don't have to. And even when the election was happening, I really, I just couldn't look at a screen for a couple of days. So I literally just didn't. I just decided to meditate and decided to just think about nothing and just sort of have the world melt away.
Vibing.
Yeah. It's great. And the second thing I want to recommend is a YouTube channel called Tom Scott Go. It's run by this British man named Tom Scott.
Tom Scott rules.
He's the oldest like 30-something-year-old you'll ever see in your life, but he's a fantastic sort of documentary maker. He makes very short videos, and they're all about like these like weird places or things you don't know. And he talks about computing. He talks about language. And as a white cis male, he's the most palatable YouTuber you'll ever find out there.
Yeah.
He's great.
His stuff really is amazing.
He's great. He's funny, and he's just great. And he's just a really cool, awesome presence. And if you want something cool to watch on YouTube, he's got hundreds of videos up, and they're all pretty great. Nice. My recommendation to start is a video called "My Unlicensed Hovercraft Bar is Technically Legal."
Pretty good.
I don't think I've seen that one, so I definitely have to watch that after recording. Or after dinner, I guess. I'm making sausages tonight. It's going to be fucking sick.
Woo!
All right, I have to speed run this closing segment because my parents said, "Yeah, we're not doing dinner until 7." Now my parents are banging on my door saying, "Hey, dinner's ready. It's 6:30. Come on, go." John, you go ahead and go first. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at _ Flourishcaster. I don't really tweet that often, but
it's a bad website.
Yeah, it's a bad website. Don't go on Twitter. Don't go on Facebook. But if you must at any point, see what I'm up to, you can find me there. That's about it.
Cool. I can be found on Twitter at Sunhatzgenya, SUNHATZHENYA. Thank you to Matt GameCube for Noisepace.xyz, which hosts this and so many other great podcasts, such as Fear Baiting, which just wrapped Schlocktober a couple of weeks ago. John's going to be our first episode back after our break, which is coming on I believe the 22nd is the day where that episode will be coming out. John, I'll shoot you a DM sometime soon to just, schedule. The Wonder Years, which is an Animorphs podcast that I do, and my brand new podcast, Special Grade Snacks, about manga, anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, which we're a friend of the show, Kay and I, who has never read the manga, and me, who has read all of it, get together and talk about the episodes of the show Jujutsu Kaisen, which is currently airing. It's a good show. It's a good podcast. And that's it for me.
Nice. I'm Val Flightcub. You can find me on Twitter at FlightCubB. The second B stands for Henry Kissinger will die.
In Minecraft?
No, in real life he will.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that's not really a threat. It's just a fact.
It's just a fact. Or you can find me on my Noise Space podcast that I do with my reading partner, Alec, LMNOP, about elementary, which is a good show.
Yeah. I'm Matt. I'm the webmaster, admin, and feed goblin that manages the Noise Space network. Feed as in like RSS feed. Feed goblin's just like a bad phrase. I feel like I just summoned something by saying that.
It's good.
It's good. The only other podcast that I have that's really active right now is Tuning Fork, which is the podcast I do with my friend David, where we talk about Pitchfork and the Music and Media Hype Machine. We just recently had an episode on Bright Eyes, Fevers, and Mirrors with guest Charlie, who also does a podcast about Twilight on the Noise Space Network called Live Free Twi Hard.
Yes.
We are going to be adding some new shows to the network soon, some existing ones, some brand new ones, so definitely keep your eyes on the Twitter at NoiseSpaceXYZ. You can also follow me on Twitter at MattGCN, and you can follow the show on Twitter at HKIPGTD, which is also where you'll find our Tumblr and where you'll find our Facebook and where you're going to find us on Reddit. Thank you for Bisexual Punch Party setting that up for us. It is where our Patreon link goes, although it will bring you to an inactive page because we are not currently a podcast with an active Patreon. Because we are releasing episodes far too infrequently with far too little bonus content to feel like that was worth the money of the people that had been paying us for it previously, as much as they said that they were glad to support us anyway.
Yes, we love you.
We love you all so much. Anyways, that's been Henry Kissinger. Is Pokemon going to die? Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori.